I don't condone human rights violations at all. I don't think nobody here does, throughout the world.
Well, that's just a blatant lie.
But isn't there a danger that you're also being seen as a tool of sports washing, an attempt to try and improve the image of a human rights abusing regime through sport, and that ultimately you could be seen as a Saudi stooge, and that could tarnish your legacy? Is that you comfortable with that?
I said earlier, I don't condone human rights violations. I don't know how I can be any more clear. I understand your question, but again, I love this game of golf. I've seen the good that it's done.
Because of his past comments.
Now to golf pro Phil Mickelson. He's facing backlash over the comments he made supporting a Saudi-backed golf tour. He lost one of his biggest sponsors, now apologizing.
The World Golf Hall of Famer told journalist Alan Shipnuck, the author of an upcoming unauthorized biography of Mickelson, that he would support the new league even though the Saudis are scary to get involved with. We know they killed Khashoggi and have a horrible record on human rights. They execute people over there for being gay. Knowing this, why would I even consider it? Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reshape how the PGA Tour operates. I'm not sure I even want it to succeed, but just the idea of it is allowing us to get things done with the PGA Tour.
It showed his indifference to human rights violations as long as he benefits.
I read these quotes and I was stunned. The quotes here are insane. He acknowledges very explicitly what the Saudi government has done, and he says, after all of it, but this is our only chance to reshape the PGA? How can you expect a normal person who's not in the world of golf to hear and see any of this and think, this feels like a good, again, non-morally compromised idea?
A good point by Pablo Torre here.
You said something in a Sports Illustrated interview, and you just said it again this morning. What happened to Jamal Khashoggi is awful, but I've seen the game of golf, the good that the game of golf has done throughout history. No matter how successful this tournament could ever be, it can't counteract someone being murdered, can it?
Nobody here condones human rights violations.
So while Phil rehearses his lines over and over, it's fair to point out just how porous he has been outside of his profession, which is the world of golf. Take, for example, this man, Elon Musk. Most recently, Mickelson tweeted his support. It's incredibly kind and generous of Elon Musk to help America become fiscally responsible. We all owe him a huge debt of gratitude. Nikola Tesla was unappreciated while he was alive despite his numerous contributions to humanity. I hope Elon is shown the appreciation he deserves in his lifetime. Whoa.
I just want to call up any 9/11 responder to come forward.
Oh, nice. Yeah, great. Look at these nice people.
All you guys come forward. That's what cancer looks like. That's what COPD looks like. That's what pulmonary fibrosis looks like. That's what severe respiratory illnesses look like. That's what post-traumatic looks like. They're all dying. So media, interview them after this press conference. Don't interview these people. I love these guys. For what? But I'll tell you what's killing them even more. The toxic redundancy of this place. The toxic redundancy of having to keep coming back. They have to keep telling their stories. Ask Ray Pfeiffer, Lou Alvarez. Oh wait, you can't, they're dead. They died telling their stories. We continue to come back here for 20 years. Then we go to funerals. Then we go to hospital beds. This is real. Doge is not real. Elon Musk. Let me just say what everybody else is thinking. People are sick and people are dying. I love you guys. I don't want to see you no more. No more. We want to be left alone. Leave us alone. We keep playing defense. Where's the offense? We ask. No more asking. We're demanding. From Longworth to Hart to HHS to the White House. Now! Have a good day.
These are the guys on the chopping block, Phil. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Show. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you. From Axios, capping how much the National Institutes of Health covers the schools' overhead costs could lead to billions of dollars in cuts to scientific research funding and widespread economic fallout. Yeah, great cut. To understand the amount folks are getting screwed over, Haskell Indian Nations University saw their women's head basketball coach, Adam Strom, no relation, along with 30 other university employees get cut via NPR. Haskell lost more than a quarter of its staff in February, according to a new lawsuit filed in federal court, they would add. About 14 of the laid-off staff, including coach Adam Strom, have been reinstated as of Monday. But that is not even close to enough, said Matt Campbell, the deputy director of the Native American Rights Fund, which is a legal group representing the plaintiffs in the suit. The coach, Strom, is a member of the Yakama Nation. His entire roster is all Native American women. FAA workers were dismissed. A great move, of course, by President Musk, considering the state of our air travel. A list of some workers can be seen on your screens. How about this? Doge and Musk want to cut the NOAA, or the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Now, sans daily weather forecasts, the agency also monitors and warns about hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and tsunamis. They manage the country's fisheries. They run marine sanctuaries. They provide navigation info to ships, and they observe changes in the climate and oceans. The agency also plays a role in warning about avalanches and space weather that could damage the electrical grid. It helps respond to disasters, including oil spills. Why cut this? From Newsweek, NASA announced it was closing offices and employees in those departments would be laid off. The Department of Education is also prepared to lay off over 1,300 employees. More raw numbers. The Department of Defense saw 4,000 employees removed. The Trump admin wants to cut half of the 90,000 person workforce at the IRS. The National Park Service lost about 1,000 people. The EPA dismissed over 300. The VA saw 1,300 workers terminated. And that's just the beginning. HUD lost about 780 employees. The administration wants to cut around 4,000 positions, roughly half of the department. Thousands of employees were released from the United States Department of Agriculture. The Department of Energy and the CFPB saw tons of losses as well. Sadly, an estimated 220,000 job cuts have been announced this year, with more expected as federal agencies implement budget reductions. And that's not even mentioning how they want to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. Norman Ornstein, political scientist and contributing editor at The Atlantic, would tweet at Lefty, "Phil Mickelson is an embarrassment to civil society. Bitched and moaned for years about his high tax rates, then sold out to the murderous Saudis."
I'm Phil Mickelson, pro golfer.
The SEC looking into how the successful pitchman made an almost $1 million profit off a stock in just one day.
Simply put, Mickelson made money that wasn't his to make. When you make money that you're not entitled to, you shouldn't get to keep it. We have not charged him with insider trading.
The SEC says it all stems from a stock tip the 3-time Masters winner received in 2012 from friend and noted gambler Billy Walters. Walters allegedly telling Mickelson to invest in a company called Dean Foods. The problem? Walters' tip was allegedly the result of inside information he received from Thomas Davis, the now former chairman of Dean Foods.
In Walters' autobiography, which is titled Gambler, Secrets from a Life at Risk, he would claim this. Mickelson bet more than $1 billion on sports and also attempted to wager on the 2012 Ryder Cup, Pete Rose style, according to the reporting, in which he would compete. Mickelson, of course, denied all of this from Sports Illustrated's recap of the explosive excerpts. Walters alleged that Mickelson asked San Diego stockbroker Gregory Silvera to transfer what they say is several $1 million through his personal bank account to an offshore book to pay off his gambling debts. The move would trigger a money laundering investigation. In 2015, when Trump gave that very famous and racist rant, Mexican people saying they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, Mickelson issued this statement. It doesn't take away from all he has done to try to help better golf and take these properties, turn them around, and make them prosperous. He did it at the course in Aberdeen. That's a lie. It is just a wonderful golf course. Also a lie. And it puts everybody in an awkward situation because we don't agree with the comments, but yet we are appreciative of what he has done to promote the game of golf. That puts everybody in a tough spot. We did a breakdown on Trump's Aberdeen golf course a few years back and how it was and still is a disaster for not just the people who live there, but also the marine life, etc. Check the description box below to see that video because, in my opinion, it aged like a fine wine.
The verdict brings an end to a closely watched trial that touched on questions around public safety, mental health, race, and homelessness.
Daniel Penny, the former Marine charged in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway last year, was found not guilty of criminally negligent homicide by a Manhattan jury on Monday. This comes after a judge dismissed a second, more serious second-degree manslaughter charge last week after the jury could not come to a verdict.
Visible smiles from Daniel Penny, who has just been acquitted on that second charge, the criminally negligent homicide. At the same time, the father of Jordan Neely, the victim in this case, escorted out of the room after he had an outburst with an expletive inside that courtroom as the verdict was being read.
In the wake of Daniel Penny's trial, one tweeter wrote, "If Daniel Penny is sent to prison by a jury of majority women, don't ever ask again why men aren't stepping in to protect others on the street/subway. It's simply not worth it in today's society." Mickelson gave this his stamp of approval, adding, "Thank you, Daniel, for serving your country and for protecting the many passengers whose lives were threatened by this violent and deranged individual." He'd then write one more. "If a deranged individual threatens to kill you, let's hope there's a Daniel Penny around." Oh my God. Lastly, finally, a little common sense, Mickelson wrote. "There never should have been a trial. He should be commended for selfless actions to protect the other passengers, and those who brought charges should be out of a job." Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.